Hey y'all. So I just want to share with y'all a small little interaction that happened between me and my son the other day. So trying to hurry up to rush out the house because I had somewhere that I had to go. So I'm like getting him ready in the morning so I can prep him for the day before I leave out. And he's like really just testing my buttons that day, like he's not really listening the way that I want him to, and yada yada. So I'm like frustrated and I'm yelling at him. He can sense that I'm like extremely angry. There's like when I'm just like regular yelling, and then there's when I'm like pissed off. There'll be moments he senses that I'm extremely upset and angry with him, that at some point he'll go off to a corner and he'll write me a note, or draw me a picture, like an I love you note. And he's been doing this for, I don't know, the past year and a half or something. He doesn't do this like every single time to the point where it becomes watered down, but he just, it's like a sign of remorse, that he acknowledges and recognizes that he did something because mommy to be upset. And so now he's trying to make it right by expressing his, his apology and just letting me know how much he loves me. And yeah, that always warms my heart. And, he'll come and hand it to me and he'll say he's sorry and whatever. But this time it was a little bit different because he did go off to his room and he grabbed some paper and wrote something. And so like he usually does, he usually just like slides it like somewhere wherever I'm standing, near my feet, like under the door of whatever room that I'm standing at. And so that's what he did this time. And then I just like ignored him because I was hot. And then he picked it up and handed it to me. So I'm just thinking that, yeah, it's just gonna be another I love you note, whatever, cool. And then when I read it, he actually wrote, mommy, you don't love me. And then he signs his name, Logan, at the bottom. That really took me back because that's the first time that he's ever done that. Usually his notes are very positive. But this time it had a negative connotation. He now is interpreting my anger and frustration in that moment for me not loving him anymore. I had a couple of options in that moment. I could have just brushed it off and be like, man, please, whatever. He'll get over it. He's just in his feelings. I could have dismissed his feelings and just like, all right, whatever. He's just trying to get attention. But even though I was in a rush, I just stopped and I took him, put him on my lap, and I expressed to him firmly, sternly, not like all caressing, goo goo gaga, like, oh baby, that's not true. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just did not feel that that was the approach that was appropriate for me in that moment. So I spoke with him very sternly, like, listen, let me tell you something. This whole idea of me not loving you, I need you to get that out of your head right now. That's never gonna happen. That does not exist. You are the most important thing to me in this life. You are the best thing that's ever happened to me. Nothing will ever change that. Do you understand me? Just because you make me upset, just because I lash out, just because I may be angry in a moment, that's just in that moment. You're going to do things that are going to upset people in your life. And they have every right to be upset and angry. People are going to do things that upset you. That does not mean that they stop loving you or that you stop loving them. I really just had to drill it into his mind in that moment and get him to understand, like, listen, it's okay for you to be sad. It's okay for you to feel down, but don't think that this is a show of my lack of love for you. And so after I get done talking to him like that, he gets off my lap and then he takes the paper and he rips it up. I was like, what are you doing? But I said it in a very soft and gentle manner, so he didn't think that I was upset at the fact that he ripped up the paper. But I already had an idea why he was doing it, but I wanted to test it out for myself. Like, okay, like, I want you to explain it to me. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm about to throw it in the garbage. I'm like, why? And he's like, because I want to get it out of my head. And in that moment, I can't express the level of like just fulfillment and just gratitude that I had in that moment. Cause that was a moment, where it's like, wow, okay, so it's actually working, like the parenting is actually working. The education is actually working. What I'm doing is actually working. And I'm not a perfect parent, nowhere near, and he's not a perfect child. But it's in small moments like that where we get glimpses of the fact that the things that we're doing every day to try to lead our children, it's making a difference. We might not see the full revelation of it in a moment when we're expecting, but like it's working, it's paying off. We're planting the seeds, and we're not always gonna see it grow in front of our eyes. And so I just felt that I should share that with you guys. Just don't take your foot off the gas pedal. You keep instilling those principles in those children. You keep doing what you're doing that you strongly believe are effective, that you strongly believe are making a difference. Even when you don't see the transformation happening in front of you, it's working. So I don't know, who this serves as an encouragement for, but I'm gonna just leave it right here and just hope that it helps somebody. Thanks for listening. Bye.